Namaskar, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you on board in our series of Food of India. Today, in our culinary voyage, we shall be taking you to Bihar. With us on board, we have expert chef Sakesh Singh. Welcome, Chef Sakesh. We are
Thank you so much.
delighted that you have been kind enough to accept our invitation to join us here in this online series of Food of India from MD University, Rohtak, Haryana. We are humbled and honored that you are here with us. Thank you so very much for being there with us in this series. Well, food tempts everyone and to people from all walks of life. And when we talk about motherland India, there is so much to offer on the platter of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, what else could have been a better academic contribution rather than starting a series like Food of India? I am thankful to our university administration, to the participants of Food of India, a foundation elective program offered for the postgraduate students of MD University Rohtak. The acknowledgements are also to Director Career Counseling and Placement Cell of MD University Rohtak and Director IHTM for being so supportive in rendering all kind of support for organizing this series. Well, before we go on this journey, let me apprise you about Chef Sakesh Singh. Chef Sakesh Singh is a chef, a food photographer, and a trainer. Ladies and gentlemen, he is author of 4 cookbooks: Simplifying Indian Cuisine, Masagrah, Baby Food, and The Forgotten Recipe. So, in his culinary delights and this journey of food, he has traveled through the diverse areas and domains. He is presently working as an assistant director with ITI Culinary Kaushal College, Ranchi. He has also been associated with Pan IIT Alumni Foundation. He has found his true passion in working for upliftment of the underprivileged section of society. Ladies and gentlemen, he has also worked with BCIHMCT New Delhi, Chandigarh College of Hospitality Mohali, and prior to academics, he has mastered the finer aspects of Indian cuisine at Bukhara in ITC Maurya, New Delhi. Do you know? He enjoys discovering culinary heritage, documenting them, and bringing them to the food connoisseurs. His documented work on Food of Bihar is the first cookbook of Bihar and has been very instrumental in conceptualizing Magad and Awadh. Well, as a part of his academic pursuits, he has been a proud alumni of IHM Ahmedabad, IMT Ghaziabad, and Annamalai University. He has many awards and honors to his credit. Thank you, Chef. Once again, welcome on board for joining us in this series. Well, when we talk about Bihar and when we think about this beautiful place, the line that comes to my mind is Bihar Ekopar. Bihar, the land of monasteries. Do you know? Bihar is a place full of history and spiritual significance. It's located in eastern part of India. The state is known as land of monasteries. There are many things that make this place worth visiting. First itself is the history that is an attraction. The two most glorious dynasties of India's, that is Maurya's 321 to 185 BCE and Gupta's 320 to 550 BCE, flourished in ancient Bihar region, which was then known as Magad. Do you know? The king Ashoka, born 304 BCE, of Mauryan dynasty, whose empire spreads across South Asia, he had his capital in Patliputra, that is present day Patna. The Gupta period, termed as India's golden age, was also based in Magad and Patliputra as its capital. Nalanda and Vikramshilas were the centers of learning established in 5th and 8th century respectively in Bihar and are regarded amongst the oldest and international universities where students from different parts of the world used to come and study. So that's incredible history of Bihar. Then when we talk about spiritual greatness, the great spiritual way of Buddhism originated and thrived in ancient Bihar. as Buddha attained his enlightenment in Bodh Gaya? Well, the Sikh leader, the 10th Guru, Sri Gobind Singh Maharaj, was born in Patna in 1660. The Takht Sri Harmandir Ji Sahib, built by Maharaja Ranjit Singh to commemorate his birthplace, is regarded as one of the 5 Akal Takhts by the Sikhs. Do you know that the religious choice is there to take trips on the basis of Buddhist circuits, Jain circuits, Ramayana circuit, Sufi circuit, Hindu circuit, Sikh circuit, etc. And when we talk about British rule, during British rule, Mahatma Gandhi started his Satyagraha movement from Champaran region against the oppression of the indigo farmers by the Britishers. In 2000, the Bihar was separated into 2 states, that is Jharkhand and Bihar. So this is a quick and a crisp information about Bihar. And when you talk about Bihar, Bihar tourism, Bihar destinations, the various circuits that comes to my mind include Buddhist circuit, Eco circuit, Jain circuit, Ramayana circuit, Sikh circuit, Sufi circuit. The popular destinations that mesmerize and tempts tourists from different parts of the world to visit this place includes Mahabodhi Temple, ruins of Nalanda, Takht Sri Harmandir Sahib Ji, Patna, Golghar, Buddha Smriti Park, Kaimur Hills, and whatnot. Now, let's talk about incredible delights. The food. You see, the food in the eastern part of India, it's believed to be one of the oldest cuisines in the country. The food ecosystem of this region consists of both vegetarian as well as non-vegetarian delights. When you talk about Bihar, makhana, foxnut, that is used in snacks and desserts, it's amazing here. And when you think about Bihar, you think about a dish which is made of roasted grams, sattu, a very popular local ingredient and a dish in itself that is used in several delights, both sweet and savory. And usually in summers, a salty sherbet made by sattu and lemon juice is very heartening. Then there is kadhi badi, so that comprises of a spiced and a deep gram flour dumplings cooked in sour and spicy yogurt based curry. And then there is rasia, a sweet recipe of rice boiled in thickened milk topped with dry fruits and raisins, and another variant made up with makhana or fox nuts, popularly called as makhane ki kheer. When you talk about Bihar, another interesting dish that comes is kurma or shakkar para. It is a dessert made by deep frying flour dumplings. Then there are other delights like kesar peda, then Navedyam. It is a prasad, devotional food offering that is usually distributed at the temples dedicated to Lord Hanuman. These are like laddus or sweet balls made with gram flour, sugar, cashew, raisin, cardamom, saffron that are cooked in ghee. Thekwa, another interesting delight, also known as khajuria. It is prepared by frying a mixture of wheat flour and jaggery. And then there are kebabs, there are laddus, there are malpuas, and parwal ki mithai, a unique sweet dish which is made up of pointed gourd, khaja, dal pitha, chana gugni, litti chokha, long latka. What not is there in Bihar? I'm sure these culinary delights must have created a temptation amongst your minds to know more about them. And to fulfill this inquisitiveness, to help you to learn more about the cuisine of Bihar, we have learned expert chef Sakesh Singh on board here. So we welcome Chef Sakesh once again and pass on this virtual dais to him for taking us on this incredible journey of Bihar. Welcome, Chef Sakesh. I'll be muting myself and would be playing the presentation so that we go ahead on this interesting culinary voyage of Bihar. Welcome on board. Over to you. Thank you. Thank you so very much for joining us. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Professor Daya. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank you for having me here, and I like to congratulate you. I like to congratulate Mahasi Dayanand University for having such a wonderful series titled Food of India. I have gone through the previous series. I know you have covered Tamil Nadu, Hyderabad, Maharashtra, Jaipur, and it's so good to see a university and people like Dr. Dahiya, who is doing their bit to actually document, to popularize the culinary or regional cuisines of our country. India being such a diverse country, we have unlimited cuisines, and it's unique in its way. But at the same time, sometimes like there are this lack of standard recipe, lack of standard product, and I'm sure the initiative like this will will help us to overcome such lacunas. So I also like to thank you for helping me out to actually set the tone for starting this session, Dr. Dahiya. You were actually very good, and it was so wonderful to listen, to know about the cuisines of Bihar from you. You are such a learned person. You have such a in-depth knowledge of Indian cuisine, cultures, and traditions. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm all set to go ahead. So, Dr. Dahiya, shall I start? Yes. So, once we start the cuisine or the food habit of any place, any region, the first thing comes is the place itself. And for Bihar, I would like to stress on the name itself. This name has come from Bihara, Vihara, that means the home. Dr. Dahiya rightly said it's the place of stufas. It's the place where actually uh, Prince Gautam became Gautam Buddha. It is the birthplace of Lord Mahavira. So it has got a lots of historical significance, and the history is actually very very old. It is at least uh, 2,500 years old. Where can we have the next slide? Where we can see the spread of Mauryan dynasty. This is the time of Asoka when it was at the dynasty was at the optimum. This place is also known to be the very good center for learning and development for the entire world. People used to come, people used to stay there. Some of the universities like Vikramshila and Nalanda universities were of world fame. Unfortunately, we know the history. The Bakhtiyar Khilji destroyed that university, and rest we know. And Bihar was also the center of power, particularly its capital, that time Patliputra and the present Patna. So it was the center of power for Gupta as well. And at that time, in the regions of Gupta, India has seen the best of power, culture, education, science, and everything. And this state has also witnessed a very small span of time during Mughal era or in between Mughal era. It was a time when actually Sher Shah Suri had the power, and he used to rule from Magadh itself, that is the Bihar. And it has been explained by Dr. Dahiya very well. It is the birthplace of 10th Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Sahib, who was actually born in Patna. And we have that Gurdwara Hari Mandir Takht. And this picture actually demonstrate or it indicates a lot. You will find lots of picture in my uh, PPTs. So the first on the left hand side, it shows the initial part, the initial phase when Magad was more or less limited, or it was surrounded near Patliputra, the present Patna, and the right hand is the optimal spread during the region of Asoka. So we can see how it started, and in 21st century, today in 2021, this is almost more or less the same. If we move on to the next slide, we will see the Bihar of 20th century. Bihar formally got separated from undivided Bengal or the province of Bengal in 1912. So that time it was one that is visible in the map on my left hand side. On the right hand side, extreme right hand side, is the present Bihar. The present Bihar is a result of partition or segregation of states into Jharkhand. So finally, if we look back, Dr. Dahiya, can we go back to the previous slide? If we look back, the first picture, the first map, that is showing Magad or Patna or the present Bihar located somewhere near Patliputra, and the exactly same thing has happened today in 21st century. So there has been time when Magad or Bihar has actually spread their boundaries, and now it has come to the original thing, to the 6th century BC. So there has been shift of power from Patliputra to New Delhi, Delhi. Indraprastha, there has been a different name, and there has been different rulers. There has been invaders who actually invaded, tried to influence the culture, the religion, and obviously the food habit as well. So now we'll move on the food habit, and the major topic, that is the food voyage of Bihar. So we will go ahead to the culinary district. We will discuss the culinary gems, and litti chokha being one of the very, very popular dish from Bihar, and it is popular outside Bihar. But I would like to explain it. What are the things that is actually that carries very important place? It has a very important place in the Bihar cuisine. So this slides actually says a lot, and I'll take some time here. If we discuss anything, culture, any cuisine, so culture and belief are the very important or the integral part of any cuisine. Cuisine, it's not just, or the food habit is not just just eating or to fulfilling the requirements of getting nutrition. It is a result of so many beliefs, and it is result of so many culture. It is result of so many occasion that actually decides what are we eating, how are we eating, and when do we eat. So Bihar being a culturally rich state, at the same time it is diverse in culture also. So though it is located in the eastern part of India, but it has its surrounding or neighboring states. And I will also like to explain that river Ganga almost passes through the center of present Bihar, that divides it into two, the northern part and the southern part. If we take the northern part, you will find Mithilanchal, that is the cultural center or the culture. It carries the heritage of culture in Bihar. We are aware of Mithila, the Mithila painting. We are aware of their rich cultural heritage that comes in their language, that comes in their tradition, in their dressings. So the same is reflected in their food habits as well. They have their particular belief. You will find the belief related to food habit is particularly different. Normally in Bihar, it's a mix of vegetarian and non-vegetarian affairs, and in majority of the in major part of the Bihar, it's highly religious, and sometimes you will find out that the segment or the various caste of people refrain from having something, particularly some non-veg. If we talk about some pandits, They will not have non-veg in southern part of the Bihar. However, in Mithila, they eat lots of fishes, they eat lots of mutton, makhana, pan, that is betel nut. It carries a very important part in their life, in their food habits also. They, like any other cuisines of India, or for the matter for rest of world also, Bihari cuisine or the cuisine of Bihar is highly dependent on the local cultivates or the seasonal cultivates. It is very much seasonal in nature. Like uh, we are having monsoon, so you will find lots of vegetables, lots of cultivates that is actually cropped in today's days. So it will find a place on the dinner plate. If you are visiting Bihar in summer, you will find a different menu altogether. There would be some common things, obviously, but this seasonal aspect makes it different, and that is the unique, that is the major uniqueness of this cuisine. If we talk about the people and the profession, so the people are very simple, hardworking, intellectuals, and Bihar being a very, it has a major wide spread of fertile land. So agriculture being major profession of the people over there also. Though now people are being diversified, there are certain changes with time. Obviously, there has to be some changes. And like any cuisine, Bihar cuisine is also progressive in nature. There has been some changes, there has been some development, but still the crust or the heart of this cuisine is very, very local, and it's very much dependent on the local cultivates. If we talk about certain raw material that I'm going to discuss in the next slide, but if we talk about certain fruits, certain certain ingredients that are being used there, you will find you will find there are certain things, certain raw material or certain dishes that has come up from every region almost. You will see some from Darbhanga or Muzaffarpur, you will find a particular type of mango, Jardalu, Jardalu mango, it has come. You will find lychee that is coming up from there. You will find lots of local vegetables that are being cultivated and being used in this season. If we look at the daily meal, this cuisine, like any other cuisines, you will find there are two or three aspects. You will find a type of food habit that is an integral part of daily, integral part of our life. Like people eat what they eat from morning to evening. At the same time, you will find a wide spread that is more or less a feast, a celebration. So in Bihar, it is known as Bhoj. We have Wajwani in Kashmir. We have Virindhu in some part of the country. We have Sadhya in the southern part. In the same way, it is Bhoj that is more or less a feast or a wide spread of menus. At the same time, you will also find some festival menu that varies. There would be certain dishes that is very, very important, very more or less a compulsive in nature. It's associated with festivals. Here I have just taken example of Holi, Diwali, Chhath, Jitya, Satuani, Sharad Purnima. If we take of Holi, there are two important meals associated with Holi. The first one is the one day before the Holi, that evening. It will find lots of snacks, mostly vegetarian snacks. There is a wide spread of fritters. So this fritters, like other part of the country, is known as pakoras, but you will also find some bachka of tarua. So this bachka of tarua is a very old heritage, and somewhat, this cuisine, the cuisine of Bihar is not very much popular outside the Bihar. And whatever be the region, whether it's less of documentation or less of promotion, but it's it's delicious to the core. It has its own flavor. It has its own uniqueness. So I said lots of pakoras, lots of fritters. At the same time, there is a different type of pakoda that is known as fritter. I have couple of photographs that would be easy to understand. I know most of our audience, unlike Dr. Dahiya, are not very much known to the delicacies that comes from Bihar. So I have taken lots of photographs and have placed in this PPT. But what I'm trying to say, this fritters, the bachka and tarua or kachri, if you look at from the distance, this is exactly the pakoda, but actually the texture, the taste, and the method of preparation is entirely different. That's not the pakoda, and this is the reason we call it pachka, tarua, and this, and we will see the preparations once in it. So that was the that Dr. Daya, on the same slide, please. In the same way, Diwali, we have a menu. Okay, sorry, in the Holi itself, the next day, two things, apart from the regular festive menu, there is lots of menu, but mutton and puwa. In other part of the country, we have seen malpua, but apart from malpua, there is a very dry, made from maida, bananas. This fruit is being used. Lots of milk goes there. Lots of dry fruits. So this is again deep fried, and it's never soaked in syrup. So this and mutton, it makes a very compulsory combination for the Holy Eve. Apart from lots of other spread that includes dahi bada, that includes different types of vegetables or some meat dishes, some rice dishes, and some breads. In the same way, Chhath, that is a very important festival of Bihar, and that is very integral part of the culture of Bihar. It's actually a 4-day festival. For the 4-day, we have a 4 set of menus. Okay. So I'll come to this menu at the end, the festival menu. In the same way, we have a Jitiya, we have Satuai. So I have taken 2 photographs. On the top side, top photo, left top side, is the thali that is normally it's a menu that is compulsory, or this is customary to break the fast of around 36-hour fast. The fast is normally in Bihar is without water also. So this thali actually denotes, or it represents the food that should be taken to break the fast. At the same time, there is another thali that is taken before starting the fast, and that the previous one, the first thali, constitutes lots of leafy vegetables, lots of saag, and the idea is to have enough water content in the body so that the ladies could survive for 36 hours without a drop of water. And this festival is basically absorbed by mothers for the well-being of their kids. And most of the, as I said, most of the festivals are very difficult in Bihar. Chhath is like 3 days fast without water. So their menu is again very different. Another festival is Satuain, not very popular, but this is a day, and normally falls in English month of April, where it is where there is a tradition of having sattu in one or other form, and the popular accompaniments are raw mango, chili, and some salad or curd. So sattu is a very integral, as Dr. Dahiya already mentioned, it's a very important and integral part of the cuisine of Bihar. Then there are different regions, and there is some variation in the food habit from one region to another. But still, there are certain things that binds all the regions of Bihar. And here I would also like to discuss the influence. There has been lots of invasions. There has been people who ruled Bihar time to time, and there are certain influences also. But these influences are very minimal. The uniqueness of this cuisine is like, apart from being so ancient, so old, and apart from so much of invasions and influences, it has managed to retain the core and crust of this cuisine. So overall, this cuisine is very rustic, very seasonal in nature, and it has a very sharp flavors. You will find that in particular dishes. Can we have the next slide? Okay, so here I have tried to discuss some of the key ingredients. There is a whole lot of ingredients or the list of ingredients in the kitchens of Bihar, and but these are some of the ingredients that has special place that makes it cuisine little different. Okay. Sattu, and it's not only gram flour; it's any cereal. It could be even wheat sattu or even maize sattu also. But chana sattu is very popular, and it's not just the roasted gram flour. It's the cereals are soaked, then it is allowed to germinate or at least allowed to dry. Then it is sand roasted, clean, and then made into powder. So whatever cereal is used, being it's very highly nutritious. It provides lots of protein to us, but it helps us to come up with lots of delicacies. Okay, you will find the use of this ingredient in the coming slides. However, makhana, Bihar is being the largest producer and exporter of makhana. Almost 85% of the makhana comes from this state only. Then we have different sort of green leafy vegetables. We call it saag, and if we start counting, it will cross 50. And the other side of the Bihar that has come in Jharkhand, that is in fact richer than Bihar. You will find more than 100 type of saag being used in Jharkhand. As I said, there is lots of influences or a special impact of seasonal vegetables. Apart from vegetables, their flowers are also being used. We have heard of pumpkin. We use it very much, but the pumpkin flour is being used in different ways. In the same way, you will find different vegetables flour that are being used to make curries, that are used to make different types of snacks also. Another very important ingredient are assortment of sun-dried vegetables. This is an example of preservation also. So on the right hand side, sorry, left corner, left down, you will find some sun-dried cauliflower. So these cauliflowers are actually sun-dried during winters when we have it in excess, and it's preserved normally for monsoons or summers. And it actually makes an excellent vegetable curry that is very different in texture, flavor, and taste. So at the same time, normally Bihar or in any part of the country, you will find some limitation of vegetables in certain seasons. So this type of sun-dried options actually help us provide us some more options to deal with, to enjoy, or to have a better dining experience. Apart from that, some cereals and dumplings, again quoted by Dr. Dahiya, like kadhi badi is prepared. In some part of the country, it is known as mangori also. Apart from that, Punjabi curry is slightly bigger, but the Bihari curries, buddies are smaller in size, almost like mangoris. And if we talk about the milk and milk products, so ample milk products are being used in the form of milk, curd, ghee, buttermilk, that's matta, chena. However, paneer is a new addition, or I would say people don't or have not used that cottage cheese or paneer, whatever be the region. But chena was being used right from very beginning. And if we come to the non-veg, so fish, mutton, and some birds or a game, pigeon is one of the very good example. It was being used right from very beginning. There has been an old tradition of using all those, but chicken is a new entry in the list of non-vegetarian. And in fact, today also, particular category of people, some Brahmins, some Rajputs, they refrain you having chicken. However, they are very much okay with mutton and fish. There are certain varieties of delicacies that are being prepared, and that are actually, it has lots of potentials to uh, to be on the dining tables of people of the food connoisseurs in different parts of world. So we will see that delicacies. Next slide, please. So this slide actually I have tried to capture the overall characteristics. It's very, if we talk about overall, not about particular dishes or particular menu. So overall, this is very simple. As I said, this is seasonal in nature, but filling and nutritional. Another very unique characteristics of the cuisine of Bihar is very quick to prepare. Certain steps like marination or the long arts of marination, slow cooking, dum cooking. It's not very much popular. However, the Muslim communities or where you find the influence of Muslims, you will find all those. But the majority of the cuisines, majority of the dishes are not very time taking. And in flavors, if we talk about flavors, so there is a blend of spices or the paste that actually dominates the uh, flavor. But in majority of the dishes, you will find the major ingredient. For example, if you are going to make kaddu ki sabji, kaddu pumpkin, we call it pumpkin. So if I have it in New Delhi or in Rohtak, you will find spice, some tinge of spices. But the kaddu that is prepared here, if I go back and remember my grandma's kitchen, you will you will relish the sweetness of that kaddu. And in certain recipes of kaddu, it is complemented with the use of jaggery, the gur. And we have a version of bhatta. We normally call it chokha. So you will find the actual flavor of the ingredients rather than spices. So this is a very unique feature of this cuisine. Apart from that, we have foreign that actually imparts or that complements the flavor of the dishes, and there are different combinations, and it's very very humble, very simple. It's like simple cumin seeds and chili. It's like a mixture of 5 6 spices. It could be just fenugreek seed. And when it talks about the gravy or the body of any dish, so normally the body is provided using onion base. Onion, it could be coriander, it could be peppercorn or cumin also, but it's actually dominated by onion. And the another most popular gravy or the body is provided by the gravy of a paste of mustard and garlic. That is very unique, very very sharp, and very different from the regular meal that you will relish in different part of the country. Next slide, please. Like in any part of India, the meal is actually divided, or we can see it's like a morning tea, breakfast, lunch, snacks, and dinner. But again, there are certain regional specialty. Like tea, tea is not only the ready-made Indian tea that is made using milk and water plus tea leaf. You will find Nimbu chai, you will find lal chai, you will find tea with black salt, you will find a different variation of ready-made tea that is actually khati doodh ki chai or kullad tea and all. In the same way, breakfast is also very important. Most of the time, this breakfast is very heavy, filling, and early. So normally it's like a combination of roti or some curry or a special stir fried preparation known as bhujia. But you will also find sometimes chura, the pressed rice, chura with curd, known as dahi chura, is a very popular combination, or some almond chura, especially in the season of mangoes. So this aam chura, dahi chura, or makuni, that is basically a sattu stuffed parathas, or sattu drink, sattu suitor. It is one of the best and a very unique way to start the day. And sometimes you will find, just a mixture of sattu that is seasoned with salt, sometimes with the oil and spices of pickle, some water, and it is shaped into muthia. It is known as muthia. So that also works. And obviously, it depends on the profession of people, depends on the economic standard of the people. That is actually applicable to everything. Lunch normally it's like rice is the prominent or the center space, and dinner is basically dominated by the breads. But rice is like rice dal, and there is a term known as DPC. It is known as dal bhat chokha. You can find the same in the photograph also. So this is one of the very humble combination, but it's still very satisfying. And most of the photographs you will find in this slide, the slides to come, it has been prepared and clicked by us. So dal, bhat, and the chokha is actually mashed vegetable. Aloo chokha is most popular. There could be a accompaniment like bachka, tarua, raita or the toba, papad, salad, achar, or there could be 2, 3 curry vegetable. There could be a couple of non-veg curries. So that actually defines the meal or the various types of meal taken in the days. Okay. Now we would like to move forward, and I'll be little quick. Next slide, please. I'll just show you some of the photographs, and let us try and understand their existence first and how it looks like. I'll try to explain the flavor. Let us see how it actually goes. So we will just go little quickly. So this is kathal ki sabji, a part of the vegetarian curry. But kathal, jackfruit, may be prepared in different ways. But what makes it different is the mixture, is the onion and the spice mixture. And sometimes it is referred as the mutton for vegetarian, because it has the texture. If you tear it, if you take out, you can resemble the mutton pieces coming out, and the taste is exactly the same. Very rich, very spicy. Next slide, please. Kathal ki sabji, and this is ol ki sabji, yam curry. Yeah. This is also, the mixture is same. It's very dark brown in color and somewhat spicy, and it is one of the major. It finds its place normally in summer or monsoon, but you will find it whenever you will have a goj or you have a spread of the dishes, more or less like a festive menu. Next slide, please. Besan ki sabji. This is very unique, and there are so many variations of this sabji. It's not like the Rajasthani gatte. Being very, very popular, I am just using Rajasthani gatte or some other dishes as a reference, because I prefer to go from known to unknown. And I could bet, I could say that since the history is old or the ancient, so we can say that the existence of these dishes are much older than the existence of all those other dishes. Maybe the marketing and promotion has been delayed, and it has to find its a way to the restaurant. Yes, this is arbi ki sabji, and I was just discussing that besan ki sabji. There are different variations. You can actually make it into diamonds, or you can serve it with a onion base or mustard and garlic base. A very pungent and sharp gravy. Arbi ki sabji is again very unique. The base or the gravy has come up with the pink lentil, masoor dal. So it's very unique. Arbi, colocosia, we know, we use it, we fry it, we mix it with onion and tomato mixture in Delhi and in northern part of the country. But in Bihar, it is a very unique mixture. The dal forms the body of the curry. This is a very popular curry, arbi with masoor ki dal. Next slide. This is sehjan and potato curry. Very nutritious, and got heard that it has got some medicinal value also. It helps to lower down the BP, high BP. But again, this is with the mustard and garlic gravy. Very, very different. If you like mustard, you can become a die-hard fan. If you don't like, it is not acceptable for you also. It is very sharp in nature. Perwal ki sabji, seasonal vegetable, and compulsory, one of the very common menus in households, at the same time in Bhoj menu also. Aloo and perwal ki sabji. Next. Okay. Boot kaleji. Here I would like to stay. This is a unique. We can resemble it with the gatta of Rajasthan. But I believe the gatta got the inspiration from this, because again the history. So this is the same. The preparation is same. It is made into dough. The gram flour is made into dough. It is steamed and then it's not fried. Then it is actually poached into simmer into a onion based mixture. It's very thin. It doesn't contain any curd or any other flavoring. It's very, very simple. The gravy is literally very thin, but it resembles the taste, the flavor resembles the liver that is known as kaleji, the non-veg kaleji. That's why it is known as boot ki kaleji or boot kaleji. Boot is a local word of for chana. So it's made from chana dal. So it becomes a liver. It's more or less like a non-veg delicacy, but it's 100% made from gram flour. Besan. Next slide, please. Same ki sabji, snow peas with potato, but again with a mustard gravy. Next. This is again very unique. Masoor dal lentil served in the form of a sabji. Very old, and I believe one of the forgotten recipes. Even the people of Bihar are not releasing it. They have forgotten it. But masoor dal is soaked, crushed, made into paste, then shaped into fried into a fritter, and then finished into a onion tomato gravy. Or I'll say tomato is the latest version because tomato. If we go back, to our grandfather or grandma's kitchen, you will never find a tomato in Bihari kitchen. Obviously, potatoes came very late, but still the use of tomato is very, very less, almost negligible in the kitchens of Bihar. So masoor dal ki sabji, aloo dum, very popular worldwide in every region of India, as one or other version of aloo dum. But again, this is one of very ancient and very unique. There are a couple of koftas very well. So this is raw banana kofta, kache kele ka kofta, one of the uniqueness. Next. Okay, this is unique. This is very unique, and it forms it finds its place one of the compulsory dish for pre-chhat meal. Aloo bangan adawri. Adawri is a type of bari, sun-dried cereals paste. Next slide, please. Kaddu ki sabzi. This is the one I was talking with the punch foran and with a tinge of jaggery. Jaggery is just added to complement. The kaddu itself is very sweet. Ghugni made with chana, black gram. Next, please. Paror is again a sponge board, but it's combination with the chana dal. Special, but it's very, very sweet, very humble, but it's very local, and it's actually wonderful. Stew, I believe it has some influence of Mughal. It's made with whole spices, lots of onion, and bottle gourd, and without any water. This is the uniqueness of this vegetable. You don't add a single drop of water, almost equal quantity of bottle gourd and onion with a tempering of whole spices, salt and turmeric. Sorry, only salt. So it's like slightly pale in color, and it's unique because it doesn't contain any water in it, but it has lots of water content. So nenua is like again rich gourd. Okay? It has spines on the top, and it also finds its combination. It goes very well with chana, so black gram and nenua. It's one of very unique, and just salt and turmeric. No spice, no paste, no mustard paste, no onion tomato. It's actually seasonal, quick to make, and wonderful to release. Next slide, please. So all the vegetarian dishes, and what it take home for us is like it's not dominated. It's not dominated by any paste. It's not dominated by the commercial way of preparation. It's the actual dish, the vegetable who imparts its flavor. So we have couple of non-vegetarian dishes, and it has been little difficult for me to actually discover it. So what we did actually, we discovered it and we give name to it also. Because if you ask any people, or particularly the one generation senior to us, maybe my father's generation or my grandfather's, they will simply say meat, machli, murga. What do you eat in non-veg? So it's like meat, machli, murga, and sometimes there are special class of people who also have some snails, some pigeons, and some other things. They enjoy some of the very good delicacies, but they have never given a proper name to this. This is a meat curry, one of the very, very popular, and I believe this is the non-veg delicacies of Bihar has all those potential to be very popular and to find a way in the commercial restaurants also. This makes a very good combination. This is one of the very compulsory days on Holi, and it finds a very good combination with pua. Next slide, sir, please. This is from Champaran. So this has become a very popular in the 21st century, I would say. In last 10-15 years, I could see lots of handi restaurants in different cities of India. It is actually one pot cooking with minimal spices, but lots of basically it is mutton. It can be done for chicken also, but this is mutton. And there's a place Champaran that was basically the satyagrah for where Mahatma Gandhi started that satyagrah. So it is supposed to be, it is said to be originated from Champaran, but now it's very, very popular, and there are so many chain of shops or the restaurant that has come up. So it's basically all those spices, onions, garlic, and the dominating spice is actually the cinnamon stick, apart from the other major constituent of the garam masala. So everything is put together and they are allowed to simmer over coal. And this is murga jhor, or normally the chicken curry. But again, this chicken curry is without tomato, unlike the northern part. And you will feel that flavor, the fresh blend of spices, a paste of spices that is prepared using cumin, coriander, turmeric, red chili, cardamom, peppercorn, and without any tomato. However, in recent days, I would say in 21st century, because of the cosmopolitan culture, people have traveled a lot. People have seen the and understand the different cuisines. Tomato actually provides a very good base and little bit of sourness to the to the curry. And this is the reason some people have started it. But if it is actually the old taste, if you find the old taste, that would be without any tomato. Next, please. Sarso wali machli jhor, or the fish curry in the mustard and garlic paste. The fish is actually fried, and in the same oil that gravy is prepared. It is very, very quick to prepare. At the same time, it's very pungent. So if you like it, you would be a fan. And it is again one of the very probable contender to be very, very popular, to find a way in the restaurants. So mustard based fish curry. Egg curry, there are various, there are a couple of variations also. You can find it in onion or in mustard gravy also. This pothia is actually a small fish. Freshwater fish is small. So these are actually marinated or mixed with garlic, bit of mustard paste, turmeric, red chili, salt, and then fried. And you can have it. The whole fish can be enjoyed. I could see Dr. Dahiya being vegetarian. So, but this is one of the very, very popular dish. Next slide, please. This is one of the lost recipe from Bihar. The fishes, the fresh water fishes, are actually cooked in cow dung cake. Normally, if you go back some 50-60 years back, you will find kitchen that is using uplas or goitha, or the cow dung cake. Okay. So once the cooking is over, the fishes are actually just thrown inside that chola, that stove. After some time, it is cleaned with a wet cloth. Then the flesh is taken out, seasoned, and then it's topped with some mustard oil. It's an amazing, and you would be surprised that we introduced it in that Gurgaon restaurant, and it was very well appreciated. We did it in the form of a canopies, as in topping over a piece of bread. So, but actually, this is one of the lost recipes. I was lucky to enjoy it couple of times. Next slide, please. This is a fish fry, regular fish fry, more or less popular, easy to make, and it's wonderful to have it also. Fish egg fritter. Normally in monsoon you will find lots of fish egg. So this is seasonal again. The non-vegetarian dishes are also very seasonal. So if you actually mix it with some, if you season it and mix it with some ground flour, you can actually make that pakoda, or you can use it in making some curries also. This is the prawn, we call it ichna. Shrimps basically, a smaller one. Again, the popular version is mustard and garlic. This is kaleji. This is the actual liver of chicken, pan roasted with lots of spices. It makes a very good snacks. Tas mutton is amazing thing. In fact, I was not aware initially. This is from the northern part of the Bihar, Champaran, Madhubani. Marinated mutton cooked over a tawa. No water, no handi, no steaming, and it's served with flattened rice or puff rice. This is very unique and very popular in northern part of the Bihar. So that was, friends, that was more or less, some of the delicacies. Or I have limited myself. I have not included any pigeon. I have not included any snails or others. But there are. But as I said, people were not very much interested in giving proper name. It has not been nomenclature. It has not been named and documented. Okay. Next is the lentil and the jhor. Lentil is like dal. It's you will find it in every part of the country. Jhor is something that is very unique and integral part of the cuisine of Bihar. So jhor is basically, can we go ahead? Yes. Jhor is, either we can have this bari jhor, the dumplings, or we can have jhor using cereals. Okay. Dr. Dahiya, can we move ahead? This is very special. I mentioned one festival, Jitya. So this Kusihi Kerao, this is a type of pea, some black pea, very rare to find, but whenever there is Jitya, that festival, this is a very compulsory. This is soaked overnight and then cooked, or nowadays we can pressure cook it, and then it's seasoned. The mixture is onion based. It has a very, very high percentage of protein. It provides that energy. So this becomes a very compulsory to break that fast. Matar ka jhor, again, this is something like you crush it and make a thin gravy. Thin gravy becomes a jhor. It goes very well with rice. So rice and jhor is it's more or less like a comfort food, and it makes an excellent combination for lunch. Next slide, please. Bathua ka jhor. Bathua, it's a very, very nutritious green leafy vegetable found in Jharkhand, and this jhor is prepared using rice starch. Normally, if you make rice by following drainage method, so that starch is the wastage. So you use that rice starch and cook that bathua leaf in that. It makes an excellent jhor, more or less like it will go with the rice, and it can be a very good soup if you just rectify that. And we did it in Gurgaon. It was a major hit also. So we need certain improvement, we need to work on it, document it, make a SOP. And I believe the flavor and the nutritional aspects, there are lots of nutritional aspects and very good flavors that will definitely will be appreciated by people. Arhar dal, it's like common arhar dal. The only difference is the photograph. Next slide, please. Dal tadka, yes. I'll tell you one thing. normally what is happening in the rest part of the India, or particularly in northern part of India, is dal is always tempered with a mixture of onion and tomato. However, in Bihar, it's only foreign. It's jeera mirchi, methi, or couple of other spices. So the regular daily use dal that is to be served in lunch is very plain and very simple. Dal tadka is a richer version, and there are so many options. One of the very popular dal tadka is using the whole masoor. This one is more or less like the Amritsar dal, and you will find this dal tadka, the tradition of this dal tadka in the entire GT road, Grand Trunk Road. Nowadays it's NH1. We shall go ahead. There are few breads. I mean, there are a whole lot of breads. Few are very common. You will find it in everywhere, like this roti. Few are very unique, very integral part of cuisine of Bihar. Next slide, please. Yes, I'll stop here. This is tisi ka paratha, flaxseed. And flaxseed, as we know, it's a very, very healthy stuff. It's mixed with jaggery and some dry fruit, then made into the paratha. The way of making the paratha is same like we do our aloo ka paratha. Next slide. Dal puri. This is unique, and this is again a very compulsory dish for a festival known as Sarad Purnima. So what it's being done, some kheer and this dal puri is prepared. Kheer is kept under the moon, and the next day it's that kheer is enjoyed using this dal puri. So it's a chana dal cooked and then enjoyed. Makhani is sattu paratha. Sattu we discussed a lot. So you will find this sattu paratha. It can be used in breakfast, in evening snack, in dinner, anywhere. It's very easy to carry also. It is more or less popular form. This moti roti or makai ka roti, I would like to stay here for some time. We can call it makai ki roti. But this is very, very different from makai ki roti, what is being served or what has come from the northern part of our country. This is makai ki roti, cooked entirely with maize flour or whole maize flour, without addition of any wheat flour, using the hand, and it's roasted over a griddle, or in fact you can use the traditional stove, the chula that used to be that was having this wood fire or that goita fire, that upla powder, and it goes very well with a mixture. Dr. Daya, could I request you to go back? It goes very well with a mixture of salt, roasted garlic, and roasted red chili, topped with mustard seeds, plus or optionally we can go have it with some jaggery paste. This again very unique, almost on the verge of lost. So some year later it would be a lost recipe again. This is a kachori made with maida, very popular in the eastern part of the country. This is very integral part of Bihar. This is a puri stuffed with sattu mixture. Sattu with bit of green chili, coriander, may or may not contain onion, some onion seeds, and ajwain are compulsory. Next. This is like a pan-India stuff, puri. I'll say it has evolved from Bihar, from Magadh. This is very unique. Chini roti, or the version is good roti also, actually a paratha, stuffed with chini or gourd or unrefined sugar, and then griddled with the help of ghee. Also served with a generous helping of ghee, desi ghee. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, now we'll have some of the side dishes. It's same. The main dishes, if we talk about lunch and dinner, it's like it's dominated by the starch, the bread or rice, then the veg curry or non-veg curry, vegetable preparation. Now we have tried to categorize like a side dishes. Like normally we have raita, but here in Bihar we have ratova, that too of bottle gourd ratova. The percentage of curd is less, but it has bottle gourd, that is again very, very good digestive, and it has crushed raw mustard seeds with some grated ginger and chopped green chili. It's very unique, very sharp. You will either love it or you will hate it. It would be not a balanced. Okay, now you will say assortment of bhujia. Bhujia basically is stir-fried dry vegetables that becomes a very good accompaniment for puri, paratha, or a very good side dish for rice or dal. So on the left, extreme left, you could say rice. Sorry, you could say potato bhujia, then bhindi, okra, and then the uh, bitter gourd. Next is the chokha, mashed vegetables. So we have assortment of chokha. Aloo, I don't know how it has become very popular, but this was also a late entry to this. Potato chokha, aloo chokha. The uniqueness is that there are so many variations of this chokha. You will find this chokha made using sponge gourd, using pointed gourd, or so many vegetables are being mashed to form that chokha. Next slide, please. Yes. Uh, this is the uniqueness of our regional cuisines. You will find the skin of banana being used at a dip or a chutney with the prominent use of garlic and green chilies. Sarso ki chutney. This is again very unique. Sarso with some souring agent. Normally, tamarind is being used here. You will, yes. This is bachka that I actually discussed. There are so many varieties of bachka also. So it is not deep fried, and it is not batter fried. Also, it's not coated. You have certain vegetable, like on the left is a pumpkin flower. It's a yellow color, kaddu ka phool, and you mix it. You stuff it with a batter using soaked and crushed gram flour, some rice flour, and then season it, and then you fry it. On the right is the potato and bottle gourd bachka. Top is the chana, green chana, fresh chana bachka that is just griddled over tawa, not deep fried. Good as a side dish and good as an snacks also. So these are different types of leafy vegetables formed by just stewing it or giving a tempering of garlic, onion, or sometimes only green chili and cumin seeds. So you will find chana, khesari, bathua. There are so many. It's very different. That is being offered in the northern part of the country. Kalonji is also very unique, very rare recipe. A paste of mustard and garlic plus spices are stuffed in this aubergine, and it is cooked over a tawa or a pan. But it's not fried, just cooked. You may cover it. Rest requires a skill to actually perfectly cook it. This is again very unique, very rare recipe. This is a pickle, but made using boiled potato, and it can survive for a month. Uh, there are potato, a smaller potato, baby potato. They are actually pickled in the complete. I mean, the whole potato is pickled. And here, this photograph shows the bigger one that is cut into a small cubes and then pickled. It reminds me of balchao of Goa. So then we have a lots of sweet dishes also. Dr. Dahiya has actually taken us to various dishes. Sweets we have very specific. Some of the sweets are very. It has evolved. It has come up from various cities or towns, and that city is known for that particular sweet. Like this is live. This is popular from Bad. That is a town in Patna, and it's khubi dana plus khoya. Very limited salt. Nowadays we have certain version, but this is the original one. And the back in the background you can see a basket made using palm tree leaf, and it is being served or sold in that same basket. Next slide, please. This is raskadam. There are certain Bengali cousin of this raskadam also, but a small chena ball coated with khoya and topped with poppy seeds. Very unique, again from Bad, Patna, and the surrounding area. This is kala jamun, not the gulab jamun. Very different, and it's like you have some sugar in khoya ball and then cook for slightly more time, more period of time. Most of the time it's dried, but it is served with the sugar syrup also. Next slide, please. Long lata, Dr. Dahiya already mentioned it. So most of the time it has a stuffing, khoya stuffing in between, and this is sealed using a long loaf. That's why it is known as long lata. This is one of the lost recipes like roti ke laddu. This is made using the leftover roti. It is actually made into smaller pieces, and syrup of jaggery is cooked. The roti is being dipped into that, cooked for some time, and then shaped into laddu, or you can have it like that also. Most of the time, this is flavored with fennel seeds. One of the lost recipe, very unforgotten, very rare. And here is the most popular makhani ki kheer, loaded with nutrition, lots of calcium, lots of goodies. This is Russia, integral part of the chhat. One day prior, day two, it's served as prasad. Normally, people don't cook it very often, but this is compulsory on the chhat eve. Next, please. Thekwa. This is again the prasad of chhat. Once the morning arag is done, then people used to distribute this thekwa. It's a very good. Sometimes I read normally the for uh, bloggers who are not Indian, the foreigners blogger, they used to call it cookies. But actually, it's a mixture of jaggery, uh, wheat flour, some dry fruits, some flavoring, and then it's deep fried in ghee. So it's very unique. Ladua or kasar, it's a type of laddu made using rice flour. Rice flour. Again, it's a very integral part of chhat, served as one of the prasad. And here comes the parval ki mithai. That is very. This parval is actually hollowed. It's been scooped out, steamed, then cooked in sugar syrup and stuffed with khoya stuffing. So one of the very seasonal delicacy. Normally find the places in sweet shop during summers, but very wonderful. Chandrakala is again amazing, and you will find the various uh, variations of Chandrakala also. Patna particularly is very well known for this. Pua is the one I was talking. It goes very well with mutton, but it's never dipped in sugar syrup. In fact, a batter, the mixture itself contains sugar. It's made using maida, mashed bananas. Kela goes into dry fruits, sugar, or maybe sometimes jaggery, and then it's poured into heated fat ghee and then taken out. You can have it like a sweet, you can have it like a snack, you can have it at any time point of time. And the one way is like in the holy days goes very well with the mutton curry, the meat. Khaja, it's like a flaky sweet made using wheat, maida and sugar. Actually, you will find that there are basically two types of sweet in Bihar. One is very dry in nature, having a very long shelf life, and normally this type of sweets are very much in common in practice in marriages. One part it's a cottage cheese or chena actually, chena that is cooked in sugar syrup, fried and hello. Am I audible? I think there is some network issue.
Yes, now you are audible, chef. I think there was some disturbance in between.
Okay. So can I have five? I think it's already. Yes, Tilkut, so Gaya, some of the cities, as I mentioned, are very sweet dishes. This is a very important Makar Sankrant, 14th January of. So it's a very integral part of sesame seeds, jaggery or sugar. That are next slide, please. Aja is a deep fried syrup. So gift it or marry. We have very unique. Now we'll have a couple of snacks that are very integral in nature. You will find some of very common or repeated thing also, but the taste and flavor uh, is different. You can make out. This is I would guess this is a result of British. It is a cutlet sort of snacks made using with a coating of breadcrumb. It has come from the northern part of Bihar. So jackfruit is being used here, particularly in monsoon. It's very common, but it's very uncommon to see. This is very popular and being consumed, being enjoyed in entire Bihar and sometimes outside Bihar also. So just sauteed fresh green tea served with fruit. There are different ways of it. Samosa seems to be very common, but the filling is very different, and more than that, the accompaniment, the chutney that is served with this singara is different. So most of the time you will find a very thin red color dip is being served with this chutney that is sweet in taste and it has a unique taste. I think my photographs or my explanation cannot actually do the justice. So unless and until you taste that this samosas are there from Punjab, from Gujarat, there is a difference. You will find some coriander seeds in some part of the country. You will find some peanuts somewhere. You will find some. You will find the filling, the different colors of filling also. So this samosa from Bihar, we call it singara. It's actually the Bihari singara, Bihari samosa. Next slide, please. Pejwa is it has some rice flour or crushed rice powder also. It's very crispy, very unique in taste. Next, please. Okay, Gunja is again very integral. You will find lots of assortments of Gunja, right from puffed rice or flattened rice to peanuts to wheat to this soaked chana. Mixture of them also. Very rustic, very wholesome, but very popular also. Next, please. This is unique. This is unique, and I think this is not very much common. You will find some boiled potato just cut, topped with this pea curry, very thin pea curry, and then some dips or chutneys, some garnishes. So it's a very good chart, in fact, and you will not find elsewhere. Only in cities of Bihar. Gupchup or pani puri again this is common. This is you will find with some variation in different part of country, but this one is again very unique. You will find lots of pounded spices. You will find tamarind. You will never find some mint or some other stuffs. Next, please. The same singhara which in the form of chaat. Next, please. This is double gupchup chaat. You can relate it with that Raj Kachori or that, but it's very smaller in taste. The filling is also very different. The topping is different. Particularly, the spice mixture is different. double guptuk chaat. We need to go ahead. Okay, now this segment is actually one of the comfort food. There are certain food in every cuisine from every part of the world, but these are like all in one. It's like a one pot meal. You can cook it and enjoy it. You don't need any accompaniment. So this dal pithi is very popular. It's known as dal pithi. So it's dal in which the same roti dough it's actually rolled out, made into flour, and allowed to cook, to temper it and enjoy. That's the dal pithi. There are different variations like dal bafra, dal dhokli from different part of the country. Litti, obviously, it is the very important part of cuisine of Bihar, and I purposely kept it in last. This is the most popular thing, but while going through the slides, now we have some certain ideas. There are so many culinary gems from Bihar. So it's like the traditional litti, roasted one that is shaped into, that sattu mixture is shaped into a dough, it's made into roundel, and then it's roasted into cow dung fire. Or you can do it in oven, or you can fry it also. So this is the version, this is the new development. So this is the deep fried version of the same mixture. Everything is same, only the cooking method has evolved. We are doing some frying also. And the next is tawa litti. You can flatten it out and you can just cook it over slow fire. So there are three versions here, and one was the parathas. And accompaniments, it's like chokha is very popular. Apart from chokha, we can have it with ghugni. We can have it with mutton or chicken. In fact, that is more preferred by people, or the ghugni, either chana ghugni or matar ghugni. It goes very well, apart from chokha and chutney. And this is also a comfort food, I would say, that DBC, dal bhat chokha. And next slide, I think khichdi. Normally, it's like we used to serve it with accompaniments like dahi papad ghee achar. It's curd papad ghee achar. Apart from that, we have some chokha chutney, and there are variations. There are variations of khichdi. There are a couple of types also, and you will got to realize that also once you have it. So finally, I also want to conclude, like, in a food habit, it's not like we have just one or any cuisine have one. It's like there are some regular everyday meal, everyday thali, everyday foods. Then we have food very much specific towards particular festivals. That is a festival thali, and Voj is like a wide spread of dishes from the. That is basically a feast. So I think I am done. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity, and thank you for having me here, Dr. Dahiya and MD University. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chef Sakesh. Believe me, it has been truly an incredible journey. Well, rightly promoted by Bihar Tourism with their tourism tagline, Blissful Bihar, and also Bihar Ek Upahar. When we covered this voyage of food with you, believe me, we were tempted to relish these delicacies. So many unheard, untold, or forgotten dishes and recipes you have covered in a meticulous way. We are indeed humbled and honored to have you here on this virtual platform of Food of India series of MD University Rohtak. The way you have expressed and shared, given us insights to the cuisine, customs, and culture of Bihar has indeed ignited our minds. On behalf of the students, the learners, both who are roped in directly, as well as who would be joining us and learning us through the recorded session of this video series, I express my gratitude to you for being on board in this incredible voyage. We look forward that you will be continuing with your support to us in near future as well. The kind of messages which I am receiving into the chat box makes me feel that you have not merely ignited the young minds, but also have enthused them with the different dimensions of cuisine of Bihar. So thankful, grateful, and honored to have you on this boat. Namaskar.
Thank you so much.